This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Oh, good.
Second hour of the presentation, known as the Friday Football Feast at Buffalo Wild Wings Oakdale. We break from the reality of it all, and if we have Paul Charchian and Guillotine Leagues, GuillotineLeagues.com guy here, it behooves us to massage his elite fantasy football mind. But we're going to do it like this, and we were going to start this week. We got with no Charchi and Nordo joining next week in Coon Rapid, copyright Clem Haskins, and Alec Lewis also being the co-host. We have some designated segments that we're going to unfurl that are new for those who have listened to the feast for a decade and a half. And one of them we were going to hold off until next week, but it behooves us to do it now.
Have to.
It's called IHOP. Okay,
IHOP.
We have a segment called IHOP.
Okay.
In honor of Paul.
Oh.
And what we're going to do is we're going to do a fantasy segment every week called IHOP. That also gives the pancake place a chance to slide into the advertising covenant.
Yeah, take a couple gift cards.
A couple gift cards for some pigs in a blanket at IHOP Burnsville, which is relatively close to me. So we were what we were going to do was, not knowing you were going to be here, we were going to tape it and send it to you. But it's called IHOP in honor of Paul. And with Nordo and Alec and yours truly, here's what we're going to do. It's going to be a season-long contest.
Ooh.
And each week we each get to pick. It's going to be a designated position, touchdowns only. We're not dealing with PPR. We're not dealing with yards,
Superflex,
and Superflex.
You're finding touchdowns, the most exciting play in football.
Touchdowns only.
All right.
And we're going to go this week quarterbacks, next week running back, next week wide receiver, then tight ends. And then we're gonna
spin the dial.
We're gonna spin the dial and cycle it during the course of the season.
All right,
so
love it.
4 points for passing touchdowns, 6 for rushing or receiving, and we're gonna have the points up at the end of the season and see who wins. Now you can't use the same player twice.
That's all right.
This is IHOP in honor of Paul because it has a fantasy bent to it. And this week we focus on quarterbacks, and Nordo has selected this guy.
3rd down and 10, Trevor Lawrence to the air. Harris in the block to the end zone. Caught! Touchdown! The rookie from LSU, Brian Thomas.
Trevor Lawrence, gentlemen.
Why do you like Trevor Lawrence?
Well, it's if not now, when, gentlemen, as I spoke yesterday, and the idea that capitalizing on what he has around him, and specifically in week 1, what the Panthers do not have around them, the opportunity to mix Travis Hunter in early, Brian Thomas off that rookie campaign is going to be better. New coach, Duval style, and Liam Cohen's going to figure this thing out. But I picked him, and partly you can't use the same guy twice. And part of this as well is Trevor Lawrence is going against a Panthers team, gentlemen, They start Patrick Jones and DJ want him. I mean, you want him, have him, take him. And we appreciate their services in reserve when they were wearing purple and gold. But honesty wins the day here. Their defense, J.C. Horn, they got a couple of nice names. Derek Brown, I don't know if he's ever evolved into an all-time stud. But for the most part, that defense is hideous. It was the worst in the NFL. I can't imagine them making a massive jump. And specifically week one, the ability for them to handle the Panthers at home in a nooner with all the new vibes down there in Jacksonville. I want to catch him while the honeymoon's hot. It's going to be Trevor Lawrence. He's got 3 or 4 in his belt this weekend, I think.
In honor of Paul, as in Paul Charchian, Trevor Lawrence this week and with Liam Cohen for the balance of the season. What do you think?
Well, if you're going to use them, this is the week to use it, so I like that thinking for Nordo. But if I understand the format correctly, quarterback's only going to come up probably 5-6 times over the course of the year, right?
That's interesting.
And so I don't know that you ever needed to fire your Trevor Lawrence bullet when you're only going to have 5 or 6 quarterbacks. So, but if you're ever going to do it, he's right. This is the week to start Trevor Lawrence.
Chargers playing fast. I didn't even think about that.
It's turning IHOP into I hate.
No, hey.
I'm just kidding.
Hey.
I'm just kidding.
Just wait till you hear these other two.
I jumped right into the game theory.
Yeah, let's not argue on your swan song, okay, with torch passing.
Trevor Lawrence, nobody talks about Grant Udinski. He was Kevin O'Connell's right-hand guy
Correct.
for multiple years, and now
Correct.
he is working and game planning with Liam Cohen.
Thank you.
I have a lot of faith in them to give him the best chance. So good job, Mark.
I have 3 fantasy football teams, and Trevor Lawrence is the first quarterback on 2 of them.
Wow.
So I'm rolling at the old Liam Cohen factor with BT outside and a revitalized running game from Etienne and Bigsby, which may be a stretch. But nevertheless, I'm hoping that Udinski, Cohen, and the rest of the Cats can turn Trevor Lawrence into what a former first-round pick is supposed to look like. So Trevor Lawrence goes to the con. Alec Lewis, The Athletic, and TheAthletic.com, he takes this guy. Geno Smith, back to pass. Rush comes from behind him. Throws right, caught touchdown. Jackson Smith in Jigba, and it's 17-13 Minnesota. Geno Smith, give it to us.
I mean, look, Chip Kelly coming back to the NFL after what he did last year at Ohio State. I just really believe that the Raiders may be a little bit under the radar. They have Ashton Jeanty at running back. Brock Bowers was incredible last year for them. Yep. I know they don't have Amari Cooper, who signed and then retired, but they do have Jacoby Myers, who is a pretty good receiver.
He is good.
And then the Pete Carroll factor. Pete helped revitalize Geno Smith's career, and to have him working with Geno against a Patriots defense that in the joint practices did not impress me at all whatsoever, even if Milton Williams can be dynamic and even if they're feisty on the edges. I like Geno Smith this entire year, and in this matchup in particular, not thinking about the game theory of it all, it made sense to me.
Again, you probably didn't need to fire a Geno Smith bullet.
Oh, geez.
Good spot to do it.
In honor of nobody.
In
honor of V-Rod.
There's some people out there who feel like Ashton Jeanty is going to steal all the touchdowns, and therefore the passing game is going to languish. But I see it as Ashton Jeanty is just going to give the team more trips over the 50, more trips into the red zone, more scoring opportunities for everybody, including Brock Bowers and including Geno Smith.
Okay, well, I mean, I'm almost afraid to unfurl mine.
You probably didn't need to fire a bullet on this guy.
For the scrutiny that I'm undoubtedly going to face.
Is it Josh Allen or Lamar, obviously?
Well, it might as well be Josh Freeman. But you know what? For the sake of the bit, IHOP, in honor of Paul, and I'm really happy I created this. Here's who I offer.
1,539. Mayfield looks left all the way. Single coverage, one-on-one. Oh, what a catch! Mike Evans fighting through Benjamin St-Juste for a 17-yard touchdown.
I mean, Benjamin St-Juste plays this perfectly. Physical off the release, a lot of hand checking. Perfect throw by Baker
Obviously,
Mayfield.
He didn't play it
Quite perfectly.
Is it okay if I use Baker Mayfield?
Heck yeah, it is.
Baker in two games against dem dirty birds last year. All right, it's good times, bad times. Copyright Led Zeppelin. It's good news, bad news. The bad news is his team lost both of the games. The good news is he threw for 6 touchdowns, 3 in each game, and this IHOP bit is touchdowns only. So I take Baker Mayfield against the Atlanta Falcons. What do you think about that, Paul?
I think Emeka Egbuka is going to be awesome, and he's going to work right into the slot week 1, and this is a really, really nice matchup. Very excited about Baker Mayfield in this one. My number 5 ranked quarterback this week, and the loss of Jaden McMillan and Chris Godwin are real, but this is a team with depth at receiver.
They also, Bucky Irving. I've talked to some people down there. I've talked to some people in Tampa Bay.
How is Malcolm Glazer?
And they rave about this guy as a running back. The production shows, but internally, even behind the scenes, there is just a lot of praise for what he does. Now, I do have a question. They don't have Liam Cohen, but they also, they have not had coordinator continuity the last couple years, and Baker's still been good. So I like the pick, and Malcolm Glazer is great.
IHOP. In honor of Paul, man.
That was great.
Just to let
fantastic.
you know,
who would you pick?
We're going to do it every week.
Who would you pick?
I think if I were choosing, knowing I only need to pick 6 quarterbacks over the course of the year, I probably would have picked Jalen Hurts.
No, because the bid's today and he played last night.
Oh, right, yeah. Can't take Jalen Hurts.
Holy God.
What a savvy move.
You like that?
Thank you for the cricket.
I'll tell you, Patrick Mahomes. I think Patrick Mahomes would have been my pick here against a rebuilt Chargers secondary coming up Friday night tonight.
Cool. Yeah. And in the penultimate week of the season, when it's quarterbacks, and I haven't used Mahomes, right? He's going against a bunch of L's, and he gets 5 touchdowns. We'll talk about it then, IHOP, in honor of Polly Wally. All right, so let's marathon this courtesy of Steve's Appliances and stevesappliances.com. I've been meaning to ask you a question, but people are texting and emailing you about rosters and crashes and scoring and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So I decided to stay out for a little bit and wait for the feast. When it comes to fantasy football drafts, and assumedly they're all done because we had a game last night, whether it was Jamar Chase or Bijan Robinson, one of those seemed to be going first.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep. 1 and 2.
Right. I want to know why not Saquon? Like, why? I mean, it's, are you kidding me? I know it was 2,000 last year, 345 carries, and sure, it's probably going to come back a little, but it's going to have to come back a lot for him to not be requisite of a number 1 pick in a fantasy football draft.
And he looked fantastic last night.
Right.
Amazing.
Yeah. I couldn't believe how many people weren't taking him at 1.
Did you see the one-handed screen catch where he makes nothing in the 4 yards first? He still has such juice. I mean, obviously, it's not
without a doubt. So why Saquon started the year, and when I say started the year, like July, early August, he was pick number 2. But he started sliding for really no reason into pick 4, pick 5, pick 6. But I think the only rationale that I've heard about Saquon Barkley is last year everything went perfect. I think it was 7 touchdowns of over 40 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, stuff like
maybe
that
60.
doesn't happen.
He set a National Football League record for touchdowns 60 yards or longer.
Right. Then you've got, of course, your quarterback who steals everything inside of 3 yards.
Yeah.
And he was still able to get to a gaudy, 14 touchdowns on the ground, a few more through the air. And just what if those things just don't break his way? But that's it on Barkley. I mean, there's nothing else not to like about him.
It feels like it would be some kind of fatigue almost, or just or you're just betting that the amazing season can't be duplicated. But when you have the continuity on the offensive line that they have, and I got to tell you, watching the Eagles last night, I thought their scheme looked pretty sharp. There was some pre-snap motion stuff. There were some misdirection plays that it's felt like they've been very vanilla over the last few years, and it's worked for them exceptionally well. But if you sprinkle in even more deception to an offense with that amount of talent, I'm with PA, where I have a hard time not understanding why this guy with the explosive gear he has, the pass-catching ability, why he can't still be the most heralded guy in the NFL.
You touch on something that happens in fantasy football all the time. Everybody wants to be the smartest one in the room.
Yeah.
taking Saquon Barkley is easy, but landing Ashton Genty and going, you know what? I see greatness coming. I'm going to go get Ashton Genty, be the first one to take him. People want to do that.
And in Bijan's case, maybe, there's optimism of, okay, Michael Penix is really going to be able to air it out. So that will remove defenders from the box. And that means Bijan can then be slashing his way further than he has. And that might actually happen. Bijan is an incredible talent and he can catch and run, but it's validating to hear you say that, because that's how it often feels. And I'm probably on that side of the coin where I'm trying to get creative and be ahead of the game, and it's probably why I've never won a league my whole life.
All right, so we have a game in the books, 24-20. So it's a pretty good fantasy football game for early season festivities with 44 points. Now we get to we have tonight. We have the Chiefs and the Chargers in Brazil, and then we have all the games on Sunday and Monday. So first question for you. Who is the player or the players who went undrafted in fantasy football leagues that you feel, in some leagues you can just go pick people up now?
Yeah, still can, right.
If you need to bid or something like that, like who, now granted, I'm gi raised, so all three of my fantasy football leagues are guillotine leagues, which means 18 people.
Thank you.
So all of a sudden I'm looking at, Olamide Zaccheaus with pick 17, hoping he's a trick for Ben Johnson.
And he might be, by the way.
Right, but most leagues are 10-ish, 12-ish, 14-ish. So there's still some pretty good people available via the metaphorical scrap heap. Who are some people should ponder?
I'm going to give you two people to go pick up right now before all the rosters locked for the weekend. And these are guys I think people will be targeting next week, but you're already going to have them.
I think I have one for you, too.
Washington running back Chris Rodriguez.
Hey.
Everybody talking about Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, who moved up 100 draft spots over the month of August. He was a 7th rounder, and he got some run with the first team. But Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt is 4th on the depth chart right now. Chris Rodriguez is the 3rd-year kid who knows the system. He's in very limited action behind Brian Robinson, but he's run for 4.8 and 4.9 yards per carry in his 2 seasons in Washington.
Yeah.
And then I did a little data grinding on Chris Rodriguez.
As you do.
As I am wont to do. He only had 35 carries last year, but I looked at every running back who had 35 or more carries last year.
Mm-hmm.
Number 1 runner in broken tackle rate, Chris Rodriguez, among every NFL player with 35 or more carries last year. The kid's, he's 225 pounds. He can be the goal line back in Washington.
I would imagine in all guillotine leagues, but most fantasy football leagues with 14 teams or more, Garendo for San Francisco, Isaac Garendo.
Yeah.
I mean, really a big part of the reason Jordan Mason was traded here, because Garendo's cheaper and he catches better.
Yes.
And those are two things that are just facts. Catches better than Jordan Mason. But now, from really under the cover of darkness, Christian McCaffrey shows up on the injury report with a calf.
Again.
I'm like, where'd that come from?
Yep, that's all of us.
Anytime I see calf on the injury report,
no bueno.
You just start to get concerned. Hey, if I see a calf, that word on the injury report, it's like, eesh.
Yeah. Anybody else?
I'll give you one more.
Yeah.
Rashee Rice is going to miss 6 weeks with suspension. Mm-hmm. So who's going to get a lot of that work? Well, and I'm not recommending Juju Smith-Schuster, but he is too.
Yeah.
Hollywood Brown, last year, he missed all the games up to like week 14 or 15. He played 5 games, including the playoffs. And they were pelting him with targets. I mean, Hollywood Brown, when healthy, which he is right now, is a big part of that offense. Xavier Worthy's sitting on, maybe a breakout campaign. But we're looking for guys you could pick up right now, and you've got a potential starter for Patrick Mahomes to throw to. Yep. And so Hollywood Brown should be drafted in more leagues.
Pretty fascinated to see that Chiefs offense tonight and just throughout the year. Like, are they going to revert and get back to some of the downfield passing game that made them so special at the beginning of Mahomes' time there? Like, I think that's possible. They have to Chargers' point, the skill to do it. The question is probably going to be, can they protect long enough for Patrick to be able to have time to hit those deep developing routes? And I think, they drafted the left tackle, Josh Simmons, I believe, who's looked amazing down there. So this game tonight, Chargers-Chiefs, though it is in Brazil, which means it's probably going to be ugly and someone will get hurt in brutal fashion, the way that Jordan Love did last year. These two teams are very, very good with two great head coaches, so can't wait for it.
It's so difficult in my estimation, and you guys, especially Paul, know so much more about fantasy lineups and following the takes, talkers, and trends and stuff like that to really hone in on a Kansas City Chief. It's like, okay, cool, Pacheco did this. Great, can't wait to use him every week.
Right.
Well, then it's like he's an L from a statistical standpoint 2 weeks in a row, but he's like picking up every blitz. He's selling whatever he needs to sell so Rashee Rice can get open. Cool. And then now like you have Travis Kelce, and Kelsey's always a threat, but then like Noah Gray sneaks in with 3 for 45 and 1. It's just difficult for me to hone in on Chiefs because they're so unpredictable every week from a fantasy standpoint. Given I'm raised, guillotineleagues.com. And we got 18 teams here, and what are we picking? 12 to 14 players, something like that?
14.
Yeah, 14.
Yeah.
So it gets real skinny and thin right at the end. Sky Moore with San Francisco. He really fizzled out with Kansas City.
Badly.
And when they took him from Purdue, his rookie season, he scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl. And then he got hurt, and things went poorly for him there. Do you give him any credence with the Niners, given Ayuk is going to be out for a while?
If Juwan Jennings wasn't going to be able to play, and suddenly his calf injury got a lot better when he signed his new contract, it was funny how that worked out. And now he's going to be able to play.
Yeah.
They've got that first-round kid from last year's, now a sophomore, Ricky Pearsall.
Yeah.
And that's mostly going to be a 1-2 punch with those guys, and then you're going to see a lot of Kittle, of course.
Yeah,
George Kittle.
yeah, but you're still light a receiver because Juwan Jennings is one of the best run-blocking wide receivers in the NFL. He throws the ball. He's a short yardage trick. He's just very big and strong. I've always liked him.
Me too.
Pearsall still only is in his second year, so we're still a receiver short here, is what I'm getting at. If they want to go 3 or 4 wide, they could split out Kittle, which they will.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering who's the other Niner, like the Niners version of, let's say, Adam Thielen when Addison is back. You got Jefferson, Addison, and Thielen. Maybe they don't have one, but there has to be another guy.
I really don't think they do have another receiver. I think they go to Kittle, and they use Kittle effectively as a third receiving option.
And they throw to their backs a ton.
They do. Assuming Christian McCaffrey's there, or Garendo. Now, Brian Robinson can't catch, so he will not be necessarily a factor that way. But
To go back real quick to the Chiefs, one guy I'm curious about, Brashard Smith, rookie they drafted in the 7th round. He was a receiver at SMU, or maybe Miami. Then he transferred to SMU and was a running back.
Yes.
And there's just been a little bit of buzz at a camp for him. He had some character stuff in college. That's why he fell to where he did. But the talent is pretty undeniable. And Andy Reid, he's done it. With Tony, he's done it in the past where they pull these skill guys.
Well, Pacheco was a 7th round pick from Rutgers.
Absolutely. Right? But they just seem to, if the guy has talent, Andy Reid will find ways to get him the ball. And this Brashard Smith is just another weapon at Andy Reid's disposal. And to your point earlier, why are they so hard to defend? Probably because every week you don't know if it's Noah Gray or if it's Worthy or if it's Rashee or if it's Brashard Smith. That's they move it around, and that makes them deceptive.
And Isaiah Pacheco doesn't catch, and Smith does. So there's a lot of people who think that Smith, even as a 7th-round rookie, is going to walk into a 3rd down role in that offense and, pick up key first downs, 3 catches a game. That is possible for him. For Travis Kelce, back to him, the big drop-off last year was very evident with Kelce.
Yeah.
He was the most chopped tight end in Guillotine leagues last year was Travis Kelce, just annihilating Guillotine League players. My worry for Kelce, who has already said last year he was distracted by Taylor Swift. But now he's engaged to Taylor Swift, and I'm worried the distraction level is going to be even higher because he's that much closer to consummating the relationship. And that's got to be distracting if you're Travis Kelce.
I mean, I don't know how. I've never been in that situation to know how
Consummate your relationship with Taylor Swift?
Yeah, no, that's absolutely have not been in that situation.
Okay, all right.
But I would be distracted by Taylor Swift too. Like, what are we doing? Of course.
Right.
I have a wild card tight end for you. For the Seattle Seahawks, A.J. Barner. Okay, he was a 4th-round rookie last year. And I think it was still the Will Dissly thing, and like another guy was there.
Yep.
Well, go ahead and take a look at his backups. I mean, you got Elijah, like Martina. You got somebody.
Arroyo. Elijah, rookie. He's a rookie.
Yeah,
Yep.
right. Well, nobody's heard of him. And Eric Salbert behind him.
Yeah.
The former Niner is a strict run-blocking tight end.
Is that a real player, Eric Salbert?
A.J. Barner he's kind of highly touted into last season off training camp. I don't know if he got hurt or whatever, but he was a 4th rounder from Michigan, played with McCarthy. He's a starting tight end who's going to play 30 to 40 snaps a game.
Yeah.
So that's somebody who I think is available in a fair amount of leagues. If you're stuck and you need to find somebody, A.J. Barner.
Did Sam Darnold like throwing to tight ends?
Well, there weren't many good things that took place in Glendale, Arizona, but one of them was a touchdown pass to T.J. Hawkinson, and that's the last time I saw those two together. That's my only answer regarding that.
I will say, I'm curious.
And we're talking about 18 times 14, whatever that is, with all those players drafted.
I am
Snot-nosed kid.
I'm curious to see Sam Darnold. Aren't you? Aren't you guys? Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
With behind that offensive line,
Yep.
with this, coordinator, like, I just will be fascinated. For me, it'll be such a referendum or not on Kevin O'Connell's ability to just raise the floor. And so that's just one of those like football experiments that will be fun to follow.
With the Philadelphia Eagles winning last night, they're trying to become the first team in 21 years to go back-to-back in the NFC East, which is absolutely amazing.
It is.
So they'll probably win that division, but what if they don't? What if Kansas City doesn't win the AFC West? What if the suddenly favored Green Bay Packers don't win the NFC North? We have some tricks up our sleeve with the next couple of segments. We are going to discuss non-favorites in each division. We give a legitimate chance to win said division. And we'll do it from Buffalo Wild Wings Oakdale. It's the inaugural 2025 Football Feast on KFAN. So with the AFC West, the Kansas City Chiefs prohibitively favored to win the West. The fan has learned, the Friday Football Feast has learned. We have the LA Chargers, we have the Denver Broncos, and we have the
Las Vegas Raiders.
So if the Chiefs weren't to win the division, there's some low-hanging fruit here that maybe all of us are going to take. But the Denver Broncos would probably be the one for most. What do you guys think?
With Denver, you get a great defense.
Yeah.
And I hate saying good things about Sean Payton teams. It hurts.
I'm over it.
I'm not. I've
just heard it too much.
I still bear the grudge, but the reality is, he's a great coach. Look what he did with Bo Nix, who struggled in the first 5 games of last year and then turned it around. Bo Nix became an efficient downfield passer, mixed in all the scrambling and the running. That turned out great. And then there's this Denver defense. Got off. They, I believe, led the NFL in sacks last year.
They were great.
Patrick Surtain on the back end.
Nick Bonito on the front end. John Franklin Myers. Like they really had a good defense. And part of it is they took and stole a lot of Brian Flores kind of fronts and pressure packages. Like there was if you watch the film of the Broncos defense, there is a lot of similarity to what we've seen here in Minnesota for a couple of years. My question with Denver is, two. I have 2 questions. There's so much hype around Bo Nix.
Yeah.
How much of that and his ability to take a step is like real versus just, it's been spoken about into the ether by Sean Payton wanting to fire his guy up into the season. That's a question. Then also, if Cortland Sutton gets hurt, what is their receiving core?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Sutton, after Sutton, it drops to Troy Franklin, Marvin Mims. I mean, Sutton plays a huge role. They did bring in Evan Ingram at tight end. That's some real productivity that they haven't had at a tight end in Denver since, I don't know, Sharp, Shannon Sharp. It's been a long time since they've had good tight ends there. So I think if there were a non-chief team to win that division, I would go Denver. You can sell me on Chargers.
That's where I'm tempted to go there.
You feel like they're on the cusp of getting Jim Harbaugh wants to run the ball, and he gets Omari and Hampton in. And they weren't able to be the offense he wanted to be last year, but it feels like this thing comes together with a better running game now for the Chargers. And Omari and Hampton, Najee Harris will work his way into that thing. Keenan Allen back just to give you some sure hands. Ladd McConkey is one of the best young receivers in the league. If they can get that defense straightened out, the Chargers could be a factor.
The question I would have with the Chargers is, who on their receiving core can take the top off? Because it is Ladd McConkey, Keenan Allen, Quentin Johnson has not been reliable. I mean, can you imagine? The Vikings took Jordan Addison, fortunately, and it was not Quentin Johnson. That is a crazy kind of shift and turning point. But they have such a formidable and tough offensive line and big offensive line that I expect Greg Roman will just try to pound the rock.
Yeah.
And then they'll try to play possession, passing the ball. And then defensively, their personnel probably have questions about, but I think Jesse Minter, their defensive coordinator who was at Michigan, is one of the best, the most underrated in the NFL. So I like the Chargers. We'll see how tonight goes, but Harbaugh just seems to know what he's doing.
Mine actually is going to be the Las Vegas Raiders.
Oh.
And here's why. And I said it the other day is if you believe the NFC North is the best division in the NFL, and it can be argued, I think the AFC West is going to push it with accolades this year because you have the Chiefs. I think the Broncos are a 10, 11, 12 win team. Pete Carroll is so perfect to straighten things out there in a glitzy city.
Yep.
Genty is, he might be generational guy. He's unbelievable.
He could be LaDainian Tomlinson if everything breaks right.
Right. No, he's...
no, you're right. It's just crazy.
Well, we talked about Jacoby Myers. You have Brock Bowers. And you have Max Crosby. Okay, so you have a pass rusher on whom they need to focus, which means somebody else has the opportunity to eat. I have the Las Vegas Raiders making the playoffs. So I have three from that division making the playoffs. Definitely two. So the Las Vegas Raiders, that would be an over on the season wins total for me. I just have a lot of respect for Pete Carroll, and the quarterback knows how to play the game, led by Carroll. Genty is the bomb. Bowers is the bomb. And their offensive line's a problem, but you can't fix everything at once. AFC South, Houston favored. Take it away. Who do you think could upset that apple cart?
Man, good question. Probably
because I think Jacksonville gets close, but doesn't get over the hump.
Jacksonville would be the one, but part of me wonders if Houston, after C.J. Stroud's first year, there was so much hype, and that it did not go well at all last year. Part of me wonders if people are a little more down on Houston than they should be. Now, I have major concerns about their offensive line. Yeah. Ed Ingram, is starting at right guard for them. But their new offensive coordinator, Nick Caley, is very, very sharp. Their receiving core is talented. And then that defense for Houston with DeMeco Ryans coordinating that thing, that is a very impressive defense. So it's probably hard for me to imagine anyone pushes them. I know the Colts have your guy, Joe Flacco, so that's – no, they don't.
The Browns.
Yeah, sorry. Botched that one.
They have my guy, Danny Dimes.
yeah, I'm not all bought in on I just really wanted to get the Joe Flacco thing in.
Oh, you'll have a chance in the next division.
But I Jacksonville's probably the one.
I think Jacksonville wins the division.
Wow.
I'll take them up. I'll take them over Houston right here.
And they're not a big dog to win that division, so there are some sharps that clearly are seeing it the way you're seeing it.
Yep, and Nordo hit on a lot of the good talking points earlier on Jacksonville. Just see much improved offense coming. Defense will be good enough, and Jacksonville in a weak division is going to pile up some wins against some bad teams, and I think they're a factor here.
Baltimore prohibitively favored to win the AFC North. I mean, who beats Baltimore in that division? Are you kidding me?
Well, okay, nobody. But let's talk. Can we talk Kevin Stefanski for a minute?
Yeah.
Anytime Stefanski, two-time Coach of the Year winner, hasn't been pulling the boat anchor of Deshaun Watson, he has been great, including last year when Deshaun Watson ruptured his Achilles, and now he's going to war with Dorian Thompson-Robinson and Bailey Zappi. Yep. Well, it didn't have Flacco last year. They had Jameis Winston. And all of a sudden, the offense is good.
Yeah.
They didn't top 18 points in 7 or 8 weeks with Deshaun Watson. Watson gets knocked out. They go to their backup quarterbacks, and now they're going 24 points, 26 points, 32 points. Mm-hmm. All you have to do for Kevin Stefanski to be great is not give him Deshaun Watson. Here comes Joe Flacco.
When you guys love Joe Flacco. It's unbelievable.
I do love Joe Flacco.
Why?
I'll tell you why. Flacco and Stefanski just 1 year removed from this epic end-of-season 6-game stretch in which Flacco averaged 325 passing yards per game.
How'd he play in the playoff game?
You guys, last year, Anthony Richardson's no longer starting. It's Joe Flacco. Yeah. And this is going to be tough. And Brian Flores is shaking in his boots. No, he wasn't, because Joe Flacco is 84 years old. He's been playing for so long, and he can't move, and his decision-making is not perfect, and his arm strength is not amazing. I do have faith in Kevin Stefanski and their continuity with Jim Schwartz as their defensive coordinator. They should be pretty good on that side. But I don't even think the only team for me that would maybe be able to push is the Steelers, and they have a lot of questions on their roster, starting at quarterback and everywhere else. But the Bengals defense for me, that defense besides Trey Henderson is a bunch of guys I've never heard of. So
and with the AFC East, the Bills are a giant favorite.
Yeah, this one's tough.
And the Bills season wins total is 11.5, and I would bet it over. I'm not betting under against that thing in this division. I don't, after Alec and I saw those joint practices with the Vikings in New England, I don't know what you left thinking. I was like, wow, New England plods. That's a clomping team. They're not a fast team and just kind of a slow team.
Travion Henderson, he's not slow.
Yeah,
he and Drake May. Yeah, but other than that,
when you're putting 22 out there, then undoubtedly you'll have some 4.2s. But nobody beats Buffalo, right?
No. Jets are going to be incredibly bad, I believe, in the market for the first pick overall next year. So Jets, to me, will not be a factor. If I had to pick somebody to surprise, I would take the Patriots just because of Drake May. Drake May was gallant last year, playing with the worst set of receivers in the league, the worst offensive line in the league. He drops back to pass, and he's got to start improvising from the height.
Wow.
And I thought the fact that he played as well as he did in that horrible situation was amazing for Drake May. Add in the 4th pick of the draft, Will Campbell at left tackle.
Yeah.
Looks very, very good through the preseason.
And Travion Henderson. I'm glad you brought that up because I hadn't really closely looked at Drake May last year, but watching him in the joint practices, then in 2 series in the preseason game, now they're not unfurling the prime beef here. But I just couldn't figure out who he was. I'm like, his arm strength ain't great. He runs, but he ain't that fast. I like Drake out of North Carolina into the draft. I just don't know what to think about it.
No, I like Drake May. And talking to people after joint practices made me feel even
Well, how is Bob Kraft?
It made me feel even more convicted. I think he'll be a good player. My question for you with that division is, what is Miami?
Yeah.
What are they?
I know.
Where are they going?
Oh, boy.
What is their direction? Is the head coach going to still have his job?
I think it's a team that doesn't want to play for McDaniel anymore.
Agreed. I just don't know what that franchise and organization is.
When you get a player like Bradley Chubb, middle of the offseason, who comes out and is quoted publicly and says, it's incumbent upon us as players to do a better job listening to Mike McDaniel when he's telling these long stories and he's joking and he's running these parables and metaphors that they don't understand. So he reminds me of a character from Beavis and Butthead, Mike McDaniel, like when he's up there talking. And Bradley Chubb came out, and he's basically like, we have to do a better job of figuring out what he's saying.
Wow.
And I'm like, when you say that, are you kidding me? Well, this is Dead Man Walking here.
From a fantasy perspective, that team for me was just like, how can I stay as far away from as possible?
Yeah, I'm
watch
out
them be
of
amazing, and that's why I lose fantasy every year.
I'm with you on this one. The Miami Dolphins have got a little stench of death on them right now.
Let's roll to the NFC after this. From Buffalo Wild Wings, Oakdale, it's the Friday Football Feast on KFAN. Approaching the final hour of the first feast of the 2025 season. Welcome back. This is the swan song for Paul Charchian of GuillotineLeagues.com. It's his final feast. He relocated with his wife Roxy to St. George, Utah. And he made it a point to not only join the State Fair show last week, 9 to noon, the feast, but to pass the metaphorical torch of co-hosting the feast to the new co-host, one of the two, Alec Lewis from The Athletic and TheAthletic.com. We're waiting for Alec to rejoin the equation because in passing the torch from Paul Charchian to Alec Lewis, one thing one of many things at which Paul is very good is being gracious with the crowd. Now, sometimes I lose my voice into Vikings games, having to constantly yell, "Paul, we're back! Hey, Paul, come on!" So that comes to a conclusion, which is good news. But clearly, he has taught Alec Lewis the importance of ingratiating himself with the feast throng.
We've talked about it.
But the difference is that Alec is walking around with cards for half off The Athletic.
Here's my promo code.
It's already $3 a month. I don't know how much else can you take off?
Yeah, it's hey, have you guys heard of The Athletic? No, what is it? Oh, come on, next table. Just kidding. But anyway, so Alec Lewis of The Athletic, TheAthletic.com. Thanks to Steve's Appliances and Steve'sAppliances.com.
Your voice is doing good for. Still been a lot of talk.
Wait till I get done calling 11 Festival of Champion races tomorrow night at CBY. Then talk to me Sunday. But the game's on Monday, so I'm sure we'll be okay. But Alec Lewis and Eric Nordquist, mad producer, the guidance of 9 to noon and the Great Chip Love Covenant. He'll be joining yours truly with Jared Wells, the technical guidance, beloved J-Dub, at Buffalo Wild Wings, Coon Rapids next week, and for the balance of the schedule. What we're doing now is looking at those with outside chances, maybe a puncher's chance to win divisions, and usurp favorites, which being Racetrack Rays, that's something I like to do on a racetrack day by racetrack day basis. Philadelphia won last night, so you get a 1-0 start there. Mm-hmm. Can anybody, well, again, no team has gone back-to-back as NFC East champion since 2004. I don't see how that possibly, I mean, maybe you like Washington enough to say that's the team, but what do y'all think?
More spitting, and Washington could be in play.
Spitter's chance.
Philadelphia is just, so I will say, I was pretty surprised just seeing Adoree Jackson out there starting at corner. Like,
did they abuse him?
I don't expect that to be something that prevents them from winning that division. But in general, it was one of those spots where you're like, good teams will probably be able to continuously identify that and pluck away at that. So, I don't know. Washington, we'll see. Deebo Samuel, the addition there is pretty interesting. But they had such a good year last year. Can Jaden Daniels duplicate it? I don't know.
What if Jaden Daniels is better in his sophomore year?
Possible.
I mean, he could get 20% better.
He's only gotten better since he was at Arizona State. So.
Right. I mean, this is your pathway for Washington to win the division is Philly's losses on defense.
Yeah.
Landon Dickerson's already dealing with back problems. That could be a factor there. And if Washington, maybe Deebo Samuel's going to be that second receiver that they've always needed opposite Terry McLaurin. Maybe that's going to help. I still prefer Philly, and I think Philly's got an amazing overall roster, but Washington's still got a pathway. I mean, it's not breaking news. These teams met in the NFC Championship game, so there's a very real chance.
Bucks favored in the South, got swept by the Atlanta Falcons last year. Then you also have Carolina with Bryce taking off a little bit last year, and New Orleans with your guy Rattler. But Tampa Bay's favored. Who has the puncher's chance?
For me, it would be Atlanta. I have a ton of questions about their defense. They added James Pierce. They've made a couple additions on that defensive line, and they have new coordinator Jeff Ulbrich, who has obviously been around and done a pretty good job. And in the secondary, I mean, they still have A.J. Terrell. They still have Jesse Bates. I mean, there is talent there. Mm-hmm. I just wonder if they'll be able to make that thing to come together. And then, I mean, we'll see with Michael Penix and Drake London and Darnell Mooney. I mean, they do have a lot of skill players. They lost Drew Dahlman at center. But that would be the team to push the Bucks. I just don't think really any of those teams come close.
If I can't pick Tampa, if we're going to go away from Tampa, I'm taking Carolina.
Yeah.
Carolina was playing second half of the season with
Big Chuba Hubbard guy.
I am a Chuba Hubbard guy. He looked great. He looked great. I'm sorry?
You like DJ Wanham.
DJ Wanham?
So
I love DJ
if you're
Wanham.
Dave Canales, you're perplexed. What do you like doing more? Saying Chuba Hubbard or playing Chuba Hubbard?
And he loves talking about Chuba Hubbard. Mm-hmm. When they signed Chuba to his new deal at the end of last year.
Chuba Hubbard sounds like something that cures erectile dysfunction. Like it should be a blue pill.
Why would they not name him? He could have been Chubba Hubbard, which would have been way cooler than Chuba Hubbard. I think they missed an opportunity there. His parents did.
I like the Bucks a lot in that division.
When Bryce Young turned the corner and Dave Canales worked his magic with him from the second half of the season forward, they started playing good teams really, really close, and then they just started winning games outright.
Like at Philadelphia.
Yes, they put a scare in Philadelphia.
Yes,
they came so close to beating the Chiefs last possession of the game versus the Chiefs. Carolina they were so much better. If their defense is not the league's worst this year like last year, maybe they're just like the 22nd ranked defense. I think Carolina's going to be in this mix.
NFC West, the favorites to win the division are the Los Angeles Rams. I think behind Philadelphia, the Rams are the target at which to shoot in the National Football Conference to get to the Super Bowl. So they're the favorite, and they're favored. If they don't get it, who gets it?
I would say, the Rams I'm with you on the Rams. Matthew Stafford, we'll see about his health over the long haul. That would be a question mark. But just have so much faith in their defensive front to create pressure. I mean, Jared Verse and Braden Fisk and those guys are so talented. So that group, and then just, McVay's ability to scheme it up is for me. That's where I'd go. I will say this. Arizona is interesting to me.
Yeah.
I really like
getting better.
I really like Drew Petzing and what they did offensively. And then defensively, they're not doing some of the most creative stuff in the league where they're playing three high safeties. They're moving Budda Baker around everywhere. They drafted Will Johnson. You hope Marvin Harrison takes a step. So that team is not – anytime I see Arizona on the schedule for an opponent, I will have my antenna up knowing that their coaching staff is probably going to put them in the best chance. That's just kind of how I feel about that group.
San Francisco seems like the obvious choice if we're not going to take the Rams. I'll take the 49ers, Kyle Shanahan. Brock Purdy played very well last year. I don't think losing Brandon Ayuk is a huge loss. Juwan Jennings, all right. And, there's still going to be a good offense and a good enough defense. Their secondary remains very good. Diamador Lenore and Charvarius West are really good. So I think San Francisco is to me the obvious answer if it's not going to be Rams. And the easy answer to why it won't be the Rams, Matthew Stafford's back. I mean, if he's going to miss, half a season with this back problem, and he's one of the toughest quarterbacks to ever play the position, but back injuries are different. It's not a tough guy thing. It's a I can't move kind of problem.
Yeah.
That might be Stafford this year.
Now, in closing, Alec follows college football markedly more closely than do Paul and I.
Correct.
Now he's a few years removed from it, Stetson Bennett, okay? And we are talking preseason games, 300 and change, bunch of touchdowns. But like if Stafford's back, it ends up. I mean, is Garoppolo still the backup, right?
Yep. Garoppolo. They like Garoppolo.
Right.
Had Stafford been traded.
McVay, I've been told by somebody, McVay loves Stetson Bennett.
And how is Kevin O'Connell? I would say.
Well done.
What I would say is
the best.
Had they traded Stafford to the New York Giants, I still think Jimmy Garoppolo would have been starting for them.
Oh.
So that's how much I believe that Sean McVay and that staff, how highly they think of Jimmy Garoppolo. I thought you were going, Alec loves college football. We're going to talk about Alabama, and I was about to walk off the stage here in my frustration for that team. So I'm glad you didn't go there.
All right, now Alex Lewis, that's his voice, covers the Vikings for The Athletic and TheAthletic.com. He'll be at all the Friday football feasts, courtesy of Steve's Appliances and Steve'sAppliances.com. And unbeknownst to yours truly and Nordo, who will be joining us at Buffalo Wild Wings next week, Alec prepared a document and sent it to us with a voluminous amount of Tolstoy of his thoughts and film study on the Minnesota Vikings in their upcoming game. And it had a treasure trove of knowledge in there. We're going to share some of that around the corner and begin with some film study of Bears coach Ben Johnson versus Brian Flores, Vikings defensive coordinator. That and more around the corner when we continue feasting at Buffalo Wild Wings Oakdale on KFAN.